demonstrate, guys, how to make variables in Scratch. All right, so let's get started. Variables are a super important concept in coding and to help you create more complex and interesting projects in Scratch. All right, so what are variables? A variable is basically like a container that stores a value. Think of it like a labeled box. For example, you can store something inside of a box like a toy or a treat, and then use that box to retrieve what's inside. Variables can hold different types of values like numbers, words, or even true or false values. All right, so now let's see, how do we create variables in Scratch? So you go over here to the variables tab, you click on this, then up here you'll see a button called make a variable. You click on that, and then you get this, this menu pops up, and you put in a name for your variable, okay? So we'll call this one score, and then go ahead and click, and then we're gonna go ahead and click OK. But before I do that, I want to talk to you about these two options here. Okay, here it says for all sprites, and over here it says for this sprite only. I will explain this to you guys a little bit later in the video, what is the difference, but for now, go ahead and just select this one and click OK. All right, now if you'll notice over here, you'll see that this is our variable that we just created. And on the left-hand side, you'll see there's a check mark right next to that variable. If I uncheck it, then you no longer see that variable on the stage, okay? So let's go back and let's check it again. All right. All right, so now there's two different blocks that we're gonna use mainly to work with our variables. One of them is called the set block right here, and the other one is the change block. That's this one right here. So go ahead and drag both of them into into the coding area. Now the set block, we use the set block to initialize our variables. In other words, to give it an initial value, like for example our score. Let's say we want to set our score to 10. So let's say we want to set our score to 10. Okay, we can use the set block, put in 10. And now if I click on the block, you will notice that over here, score is now 10, right? Now I can change this back. I can change it to 5. I click on it. Now the score is 5, okay? Now the change block, we'll use the change block when we want to change the value of our variable. So let's say we want to change score by 1, right? So now if I click on the change block, you will notice that the score has gone up to 6, right? So if I click on it again, now 7, right? Because I'm changing score by 1, all right? Now what if we wanted to, let's say we want to change it by 3, okay? Now if I click on this, now you'll see it's 10. If I click on it again, it's 13. You see that? So that's how you use the set block and the change blocks. All right, so now let's go ahead and grab one green flag clicked and connect it to the set block, and then we're going to grab the space key pressed and connect it to the change score block. All right, so now when we click the green flag, we're going to set our score to 0. Okay, so right here you want to put 0, and then when we press the space key, we want to change score by 1. Okay, so let's see how this works. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the green flag, and if you'll notice, score becomes 0, right? Because we're telling our program that when we click on the green flag, set score to 0. We want to initialize our score back to 0. Okay, and then when we press the space key, we're going to change score by 1. Okay, so watch. When I press the space key, you'll notice over here, score goes out by 1. You see 3, 4, 5, 6, so on and so forth. Okay, so that's the difference between the set block and the change block. Okay, all right, let's see. We'll grab the save block and then go back to variables, and let's grab our score and let's put it right inside the save block. All right, so now what do we just do? Well, so we created a variable called score. When we click the green flag, we're going to set the score to 0. And then when we press space, we are going to change the score by 5. And then using the say block, we are going to say score. So what does that mean, say score? Well, as you remember what we just talked about, the score is a container, okay? The score right here is a container, right here. That's our container. And inside the score is going to be our value. Well, as of right now, if you look over here, the value of score is 25, okay? So if I click on this, it says 25, right? Okay, well, what happens when we restart our program? So let's click on the flag, okay? So look at that. Now score is 0, right? So if I click on score here, if I click on that, look at that. It's going to show 0, right? Right, again, the 0, okay? Why? Because when we click the green flag, we set score to 0, okay? We reset the value to 0. Okay, so now what's going to happen when we press space? Okay, so let's try it out. Let's press space. Look at that. See, every time I press space, the value of score goes up by 5 points. You see that? It goes up by 5. Look over here. 25, 35. And Scratchy, you know, he's saying the current value, 40, 45, 50, 55, and so on and so forth. Okay? So now if I click on the green flag again, look what happens. The score resets to 0, right? Because we're telling the program that when we click the green flag, set score to 0, okay? So that's how we use the set block to reset the score or reset the value of our variable, okay? And then you use the change block to change the value of our variable, okay? All right, very good. So now let's see some more examples. All right, so now let's talk about, let's create another variable. Let's call it score2, okay? And this time we are going to check this circle right here for this sprite only, okay? Let's go ahead and check this for this sprite only. Because I want to show you the difference between this option and this option, okay? So we're going to select for this sprite only, okay? And go ahead and click OK. So now if you look over here, it says right here, sprite 1, score 2. So that tells you that this variable called score 2, this variable is only for sprite 1, okay? So what does that mean? Only for sprite 1. Okay, well, let's see an example. So let's go down here, go choose a sprite, and let's add this sprite, this one where your button 2, okay? Go ahead and add that. All right, so now we have button 2, and let's just move it down here, okay? So let's see. Now go to the events. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab one space key pressed. Go ahead and click on space and change it to up arrow. All right, so what do we do next? Well, let's see. We're gonna go to variables and let's grab the change block. All right, grab the change block and connect it right underneath it. All right, now let's click on lights. And if you notice, okay, here, there is no score 2. You see that? There is no score 2. Why? Well, because we don't have access to score 2 in this sprite. This is the button sprite, right? We don't have access to score 2 because score 2 belongs to sprite 1, right? Belongs to sprite 1 because when we created score 2, we checked the option this sprite only, right? So when we came here, we checked this option for this sprite only. And that's the reason why you cannot choose score 2 right here. There is no score 2, okay? Because score 2 belongs to this sprite 1. Now if I go over here, let's say we go back to the cat. And now if I click on this drop down, you will notice there it is, score 2, right? So we can choose score 2 for this sprite, and we can change this to score 2 as well, okay? So now when I click on the green flag, right, his score 2 is 0, and when I click on space, score 2 changes. You see that? It's changing, okay? So that is the difference between these two options for all sprites and for this sprite only. All right, so you might be wondering, okay, maybe you're still confused as to why we need variables, right? Okay, well, let's see another example. Let's change this back to score, change this one back to score. All right, now let's take this out, okay? Let's take this out. Let's change that to 5, okay? So now let's go ahead and click on the green flag over here. All right, so what happens now? The score is back to 0. We reset the score. Now, if I press space key, right, I'm gonna go ahead and press space right here. What's happening? Okay, Scratchy's said 5, right? And I'm gonna press space again. And if you look over here, it's still saying 5, right? Why is that? Well, because we took out our variable. Now it says 5 right here. So it's gonna keep saying 5. Now, we could go in here and say, we could go in here and change this to 10. Okay, they change that to 10. And that will be click space. Now it will set 10. But what happens if I click space again? Look, score is 20 right now, right? And I press space again, score is 25. The Scratchy is still saying 10. Okay, because right here, we wrote 10. Okay, now if we want Scratchy to say 25, we have to come in here and change it to 25. Okay, now it'll say 25. If we wanted to set 30, or to come in here and change it to 30. Okay, now it'll say 30. Come back here, we change it to 35. Now it'll say 35. But you see what the problem is? The problem is that Scratchy is saying 35, but the score is 40. Okay, and also the other problem is that we have to come in here and change this number every time, right? Every time we want Scratchy to add a 5, we have to come here and we have to change this number. Now, we don't want to do that, right? So let's say we're playing our game full screen, okay? And I click on space. Look, you'll notice here, okay? The score is going up. It's at 55, 60, 65, 70. But Scratchy is still saying 35. There's no way for us to change this, right? How are we going to change this? How do we change this? We can't. We can't change this because this is the game view, okay? This is when you're playing the game. So you can't come in here and change it to 35, which is why we need variables, okay? We need to have this variable inside here, okay? Because this right here, the score, this right here, this score, this keeps track of this number, 70, okay? It keeps track of that. So if we put this in here, and now we go to full screen, and we press space, look at that, see? 75, and press space, 80, right? Same as score, okay? This is one of the reasons why we need variables. There is no way we can make this game without a variable because the computer is not going to know what that number is. It's not going to know where our score is, right? Every time we press the space bar, okay? All right. All right, so now let's see another example of how we can use variables, okay? So now let's see. So what we're going to do is let's go over here to motion. Okay, and let's grab this block, move 10 steps. Then let's grab this one, turn 15 degrees to the right, turn 15 to the left. Then grab this one, move 10. And let's go ahead and let's grab another turn block to the right, turn to the left. Then let's grab another move 10 steps. Another move 10 steps. One more. Let's grab, turn 15 degrees to the right, turn 15 degrees to the left. Okay, now we're going to go in here. We're going to change the 15 to a 10. Change that to a 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. Okay. So now let's see what happens. Let's click on the green flag. All right, so now you probably didn't notice it because it went so fast. It actually did all of this, right? It moved 10 steps and then turned right, left, right, left. Okay, so now let's add some wait blocks in between so you can actually see what is happening. All right. So let's go over here and let's go to control So grab the weight block. Let's change it to 0.10. Okay. Then you can right click and duplicate, right click, duplicate, right click, duplicate, right click, duplicate, right click, duplicate. All right, so here I added the weight block in between all of these other blocks. You can pause the video and do this on your own. So let's click the flag now and see what happens. Okay. All right, so there you go. Now you can see it moving and turning, right? So now it went pretty fast because we only have a 0.10 second wait, right? So let's bring you back and I click on the start again. You'll see it moving, okay? All right, so now let's get rid of some of these variables. Let's go over here, click on variables, and let's uncheck all of these. This one and this one. All right, so now we are unchecked. Now our stage is clean, right? Without any unneeded variables here. Okay, so now if you will notice over here, look, we have 10, 10, 10, 10. In all the blue blocks, we're using 10, right? It's 10, it's 10, 10, right? What if we want to change this to 20, right? So we have to go over here. We have to change that to 20. Okay. Change that to 20, change that to 20, 20, 20, 20, right? You get the point, right? So it's a very long process. Okay, so I changed them all to 20. Now if I click on the green flag, now it'll move at, 20 steps, right? Now, what if we want to change it to 30? Well, now I'm going to go into this one, change it to 30, change this one, to change all of them to 30. Now, that takes a lot of time. And imagine if this code was 2 times the length, okay? Let's say if I had this right here, right? Let's say it was this long, right? Look at that. Let's say our code was this long. Now that's a lot of steps. Those are a lot of fields we have to change to 30, right? Well, there's an easier way using variables. So here we are. We're back to how we had the original setup, and then we bring my cat to the center. Okay, so there's an easier way. What's the easy way? The easy way is to create a variable. So let's go over here. Let's make a variable, and we'll call it steps. Okay. Now here's a tip, guys. When you are naming your variables, okay, it's a good idea to give them a meaningful name. For example, in here we called this steps. Okay, you'll see why we're using steps. Okay, so you don't want to go over here. You don't want to create a variable and call it something, something gibberish. You don't want to do that, right? Because then you don't know what this variable is for. What is this, right? This doesn't make sense. What is this for? Okay. So use a name that is meaningful. Okay, so now what are we going to do here? What we're going to do is we are going to replace the numbers with our variable steps. Okay, right here. We're going to replace all of them with step. All right, so I went ahead and replaced all of the numbers that we had with our new variable that we created called steps. All right, so now it's really easy. All you have to do now is use the set block. Okay, use the set block. And when the green flag is clicked, what we're going to do, we're going to set steps. Okay, we're going to set steps to 20, for example. Right now, we'll set it to 20, okay? And let's set steps to 20, okay? So now when I click on the green flag, Scratchy will move 20 steps, okay? Now, what if we want him to move 30 steps? Well, it's easy. All you got to do is change this to 30, okay? And boom, there you go. Now it's moving 30 steps, okay? Now, if you want to change it to, I don't know, let's say 50 steps, okay? All right. There you go. 50 steps, okay? You see how easy that was? All right. But what if we had really long code? Let's say we had all of this stuff here, right? Let's say we had all of this, right? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how long our code is because we're using variables, right? We're using variables now. Look at that. So let's say, imagine this was our code. Imagine you have to go in and change all of these values by hand, right? Imagine you had this, how we had it before. Imagine you had to go in here and change each and every single value. Look at how many we have. That's crazy, right? So the easier way is to use a variable. Right here, we use steps. Talk that in, boom. There you go. It doesn't matter how long the code is because we now have a variable, okay? That's why variables are very, very important because you don't want to be going in there, changing everything by hand, making it difficult for yourself, all right? Okay, very good. So now let's look at some more examples here, okay? All right, so now I want to talk about a special variable that is already, is already provided for us, okay? And that special variable is this one right here. It's called answer. Okay, that's a special kind of variable that is already there. The computer program, Scratch, already creates this variable for us. Okay, it's available to us all the time. Okay, now what is this variable? What is answer for? Right? Why? When would you use that? Okay, so let's click on answer. Well, first let's check more the answer. Okay, so that we can see it over here, right? So right now, as you can see, answer, it shows that there's nothing there, right? It's empty, okay? Now let's click on answer. Look at that, it's still empty, right? All right, so what is the purpose of this variable? Well, this variable answer right here, okay, is made for this block right here, for this block, for the ask block, okay? That's what we use answer for. It's for the ask block, okay? All right, now what does the ask block do? Well, it's simple. So let's go ahead and click on the ask block. When you click on this, you'll see that this box, right? This box opens up, right? There's this box, okay? And then Scratchy, or Sprite 1 is asking you a question. It's saying, what is your name, right? So this right here, what is your name, is the same as what is inside this box. You see that? It says, what's your name, right? And wait. It's waiting for us to type something into this box right here. Okay, it's waiting for us to type something into this box. So let's go ahead and click stop. And let's change this to, let's say, how are you, right? Let's change that to how are you? Okay. So now if we click on this, what happens? So let's click on this. Now saying, how are you? You see that? So whatever we type in here is what our sprite is going to say over here. You see that? This is the same exact thing. Okay. We are basically asking a question. Okay. We're asking a question, and the answer to that question, okay, whatever we type in here, that answer is going to go into this answer variable. Okay. So pay attention to this area. Okay. So let's see. I'm going to type in here, I'm good. Okay, and then I'm going to click on this right here. Click on that, and look at that. You see that? Now the answer says, I am good, right? All right, so now let's see. Now let's click on it again. Let's click on this again. All right, it's asking us, how are you? Now I'm going to type in here. This time I'm going to say, I am awesome. Okay, I'm going to say, I am awesome. Okay. And so look, I'm awesome. I'm going to click on this check mark, and now look at this. See that? Now the answer is, I'm awesome. So the answer changes every time we click on this box. Okay, every time we use this block, each time that you use this block, the answer is going to change. The answer is always going to be the very last question that we asked. Okay, so let's do another example. Okay, let's do another example. Let's do looks here. Let's do say hello. Okay, duplicate this, put it here, duplicate that one more time, and put it right here. Right now we're going to say, how are you? And in here, we're going to ask, how old, how old, how old are you? And over here, we're going to ask, what grade are you in? Okay, what grade are you in? Then we're going to use answer. We're going to grab answer. We're going to put it inside of each of these say blocks. Okay. So now if you'll notice, we're using the same variable, right? In each of these blocks, it's the same variable. Okay. So each time we ask this question, the variable right here is going to change. It's going to change every time. Okay. It's going to change every time. All right. So let's try it out. Okay. Let's add the green flag clicked. Now pay attention to this over here. Okay. It's going to change. How are you? Good. So look, now the answer is good. Okay. How old are you? How many 5? Look, now the answer is 25. What grade are you in? First grade. And look at that. Now the answer is 1. So every time we use this block, the answer changes, okay? All right, so now let's do one more example. We are going to ask the user, what is their name? And then we're going to ask them, what is their favorite food? And then we want the cat to say, give a greeting, say, hi, so-and-so, my favorite food is also, whatever the user types in, okay? So let's get started here. So you'll see what I mean. So we're going to ask them, okay, we're going to say, what is your name? Okay. What is your name? And then what we're going to do is we are going to ask them, what is your favorite food? Okay, and we're going to ask them, what is your favorite food? And then in the end, we want our program to say, basically, we wanted to say something like, hello, username. So this username, this is going to be whatever, this username is going to be whatever they type into the box. When I say hello, username, my favorite food is also, and we're going to say my favorite food is also, whatever they type in. So if they type in, for example, if they type in pizza, we're going to say hello. Let's say they type in the name Jay and they type in pizza. So we're going to say, hello, Jay. My favorite food is also pizza. Okay, that's what we want to say. So how can we make that happen? All right, well, for that, we're going to need to use variables. Okay, we're going to need 2 different variables. All right, so first variable is going to be, let's create a new variable. Let's call it name. Okay, let's call it name. And let's create another variable. Let's call it food. Right, so we have 2 variables, name and food. Okay, now let's get rid of this here. We don't need steps. All right, so what we're going to do now, we're going to ask them, what is your name? And we're going to ask them, what is your favorite food? And then we're going to say, make this sentence. I'm going to say it back to the user. Okay. So we can do this. So we can say, right here, we can say like that. We can say, hello, Jay, my favorite food is pizza. Okay, we can say that, right? So now if I click on the green flag, it's going to say, what is your name? So I'm going to type in Jay. And it's going to say, what is your favorite food? I'm going to say pizza. And look, it says, hello, Jay, my favorite food is also pizza, right? So it worked, right? Well, not exactly. So what if I run it again? What if this time I type in Sam and I say my favorite food is burgers? What happened? What do you think is going to happen? Look, it's still saying the same thing, right? It should have said, hello, Sam. My favorite food is also burgers, right? But it didn't say that. Why? Well, because we didn't say this information anywhere, right? We asked them a couple of questions, but we didn't say it anywhere, right? Now, another thing we can try is that right here. And one more join block. All right. So we say hello. And we say answer. Then we say my favorite food is also, and it's grab answer. Okay. So we can replace that with this, right? Because when you click on the flag, when you ask a question, okay, the answer ends up in the answer variable, correct? It'll go into the answer variable, right? So we can try to do this. We can try to join hello with answer, whatever they enter as their name. Then you join my favorite food is also answer, right? Whatever they enter as the favorite food, right? We can try that. So let's give that a shot. Let's see what happens. Okay. What is your name? Okay, so I'm going to type in, let's say I'm going to type in Sam. Now asking what is your favorite food? Let's do pizza this time. Okay. Press enter. Look what it says here. It says, hello, pizza. My favorite food is also pizza. You see that? Or here, let me fix something real quick. Let's add some space right here. Let's add some space, okay? Let's try that again. All right. What is your name? Jay. Your favorite food? Pizza. All right, look what it says. It says, hello, pizza. My favorite food is also pizza. Okay. All right, so why is this saying pizza 2 times? Well, simple. It's because of answer. We're using answer. What is answer? Remember I told you answer changes every time we ask a question, right? When we've asked the first question, answer was pizza. Answer was J. And then immediately we asked a second question. And so now the new answer is pizza, right? Because that was the second question we asked them. So answer in both of these cases is pizza. If you look over here, say it's pizza. So that's why it's repeating pizza 2 times, okay? So how can we fix that? Well, we can fix it using the variables that we created for this exercise. All right, so let's do this. Go to variables. Let's go to set. First, we're going to ask them, what is your name? Now we're going to set. We are going to set name, okay? Name, we're going to set name. We're going to set name to answer, okay? All right. So what are we doing here? We are asking them, what is your name? And we're saving answer. We're saving the answer to the variable that we created called name. We're saving it to name, okay? So that way we don't lose the answer, right? We're going to save it into our own variable called name. Now we're going to ask them another question. What is your favorite food? Okay. And now we do the same thing. We're going to go over here. We're going to set food to, yeah, you guessed it. We're going to set food to answer. Okay. Right there, food to answer. All right. Now let's give it a shot. Let's see if this works. Okay. What is your name? Jay. What is your favorite food? Pizza. All right. Oh, wait, what happened here? How come it's still saying yellow pizza? My favorite food is also pizza. Well, because we're still using the answer variable over here, right? We created these variables. We saved the information to this variable, but we never used them anywhere, right? So now let's use them. Let's actually use the variables. So we're going to take name. We're going to put that right here. Sorry, not here. Right over here. Get rid of answer. And then when I take food, I want to put that right over here. You see that? See, that's now we set name to answer. Then we set food to answer. Now we're going to use a join block. We're going to join hello with the name, empty space, and then we're going to join this sentence right here, my favorite food is also, when I join that with food, you see that? Food, okay? All right, now let's give that a shot. Let's keep our fingers crossed. I hope this works. Name is Jay. Food is pizza. Bam, look at that. Wow, say hello, Jay. My favorite food is also pizza. All right, well, let's try something different. Let's try a different name. Let's try Sam. Okay, Sam. Let's try burgers. Okay, what do you think is going to happen? Look at that. Hello, Sam. My favorite food is also burgers. You see that? So that's how variables work. Okay, that's all that you create your own variables. You store that information, and that's how you use this special answer variable. Okay, this answer variable changes every time. Okay, so you cannot directly plug this into here and here. Okay, it is not going to work. All right, guys, that is it for this video. I hope you learned what variables are because they're very important. They're probably the most important things that you can learn as a beginner who's learning to code. So make sure you understand what variables are. Do these examples that we did in this video. Watch the video again, pause it if you have to, and do these examples and make sure you understand them. Okay. All right, till next time. Bye-bye.